Hey everyone, so I just did this whole live broadcast and realized I wasn't sharing my screen, so no one saw anything. So I'm gonna do it again. So what I'm here to do for the second time is to show you how to set up a file for enamel pin artwork and how to send it off to production. I'll go over what swatches to use, how to color it in, and just some other tips. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen now. And the button for that is right here. And share it. Okay. I need to get out of Facebook because that's not what we're doing during this live stream. Hello, husband. I'm live streaming. Okay, so this is some artwork that I pulled in. What I would have done is drawn this in Illustrator. And I don't know why when I pulled it in, some line work was missing, but it doesn't matter. So let's take this, and I want it to be like a coloring book. And the reason it's going to be like a coloring book is because you kind of have to think of it as someone with a tiny eyedropper is going to fill each area with paint. So you don't want anything too teeny tiny that would, spill over and look bad. And if you're unsure, just ask your manufacturer, like, is this too detailed? Every manufacturer has a different comfort zone with that. Like mine can get really detailed, but I know other manufacturers have turned down my art and say I can't do it. So I will tell you, I use YYY. I use Brian from there. Brian lapel pins at 163.com is the guy I use. So I'm going to color this guy in using Pantone solid coated colors. So you don't use your default swatches. You're going to use Pantone colors. Now, the reason you use Pantone colors is this. CMYK and RGB, those can be interpreted differently depending on how you look at the screen. So if you're looking at your phone, or if you're looking at your computer screen, or if you're looking at something printed out, those colors you might say, hey, but I used the eyedropper tool. Why is it looking different on different screens? Well, that's because each screen is calibrated differently. They use a different wattage of light. Macs are brighter than PCs, and print is completely different. So the reason we use these Pantone colors is because they are numerical, and there are these swatch books that have the numbers down, and they're printed right in front of you. So if I'm looking at like a light purple, I can say, I know that when this is printed out on this pin, it should look exactly like this light purple. Now, these colors do get mixed by human beings, so, and especially the lighter pastel colors might sometimes be darker. So just don't always expect it to be 100% accurate to your eye, because a human is mixing the color, and also sometimes like an epoxy might go over the pin. Hard versus soft enamel. Hard tends to be a little bit darker sometimes. So don't yell at your factory if it's not 100% exactly how it's printed. Now, if you get blue and you chose pink, that's wrong. So to get the Pantone swatches loaded into Illustrator, you are going to open your, and if you missed that, over here, there's a little drop down in the swatch palette, and you're going to go to Open Swatch Library, Color Books, and Pantone Solid Coated. So I've got my Pantone Solid colors now. Now these are all the colors that are in a swatch book that you might have in your hand. If you don't have one in your hand, it's understandable. They're expensive. You can sometimes get them at a good price on eBay. Just make sure you don't get one that's faded, because that will defeat the purpose of having one. So I'm going to pick some new colors this time. I'm going to pick a pink. And you notice when I clicked on that pink, it added it to my palette over here. I have these other colors that I'm going to delete. Okay, so I'm going to make this pink and fuchsia and blue. Let's do whatever this green is. That looks horrendous. Awesome. Okay, now the easiest way to color in my artwork is to use live paint. So there is a tool over here. It's the live paint bucket, and it basically turns your artwork into a coloring book. So you can either click it here, you can either go to Object, Live Paint, or if you're super lazy like I am with everything selected, you will hit the K on your keyboard, and it's now Live Paintable. Now, the reason I have this outline orange is because I was thinking about making it gold enamel, and that was going to signify which lines were gold. Now, all the lines would have to be the enamel color. So you couldn't have like some of these lines black and then some silver and some gold. It's all going to be gold. They're going to make your mold out of gold and then color it in with the paint. So all my lines are the same color. Now with the K selected, the live paint tool, I'm going to pick this green color and I'm going to start clicking in the areas that I want filled in this color. And if I mess up, I can hit Control Z or undo. That looks bad. And see how easy this is? And it's kind of fun, right? To color in the sections. Here comes the ugly fuchsia. Oh yeah. And then if you leave some of it white, they can definitely use white paint. But I'm going to use these ugly colors. Okay, so there's my pin. Isn't it beautiful? If I change my mind, I can, I can play around with it. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to scale this down so I can see exactly what size it's going to be. I'm going to make this a 1.5-inch pin. And the way I like to do this is to choose the rectangle tool right here and double click on my artboard. And I'm going to type in 1.5. That's going to make an exact 1.5 square. It just made it the color I had it selected. So I'm going to choose just black, a black line of no fill. I'm going to select this whole thing, grab my bounding box corner, hold down the Shift key. Very important to hold down that Shift key so that it scales it proportionately. And click and drag. And now I know it's exactly 1.5 inches. I'll just stick it in the middle. I'm going to delete this. We don't need that anymore. And now, let's see. I'm going to type on here so they know what size my pin is. 1.5 inches. Now, if you want to get very specific or just learn something cool, this is not the inch symbol. This is the quote mark. If we want it to be the inch symbol, we're going to go to the type palette and glyphs. And now I can see every character in this font, which is good to know if you're ever doing like foreign characters or you just want to see all the dingbats. And this is the actual inch file, or inch glyph. So now it says 1.5 inches. And I'm also going to give them a key so they know what all my colors are. Now I have this from before, but the numbers are wrong because these were the colors I used last time. So this is indicating that all the orange parts are going to be the gold enamel, and this would be a hard enamel pin. Now I want to make sure the correct colors are here. I just drew these. These are just squares rectangles that I drew. And I'm just going to type up a little key. If you don't know what number you picked, see how I'm just putting my mouse over this swatch and it's telling me that's 198. 198. This one is 240. And this one is 2707. And that one is 379. Okay, so this is the artwork, the key, and let's say you wanted one part to be glitter or glow in the dark, or there was something special you wanted to tell them about your pin. Maybe you want 2 pin backs on it. So what I would do is I would kind of mock up what the back would look like. In this case, all I have to do is, oops, I forgot to fill this part in. Let's give that some color, because otherwise it would have been white. Like if this was the back, I would draw a little circle just to show them that there's 2 pin backs. And if your pin is bigger than like an inch or 1.2 inches, give it 2 pin backs so that it doesn't fall off when someone's wearing it. Because nothing's sadder than having a pin that falls off, right? Yeah, and I might just label this back, pin placement, so they can see where I want those pins to go. If I wanted this little circle only, 2707, to be glitter, I might take this and label it so they know to make that glitter. Any information you have, just put on this in this file for them. And I'm going to show you a really complicated one next, just to show you all the cool things you can do. I also like to put my name on the file at the bottom, my name, and I put my email on the file, and then I name it something like art pin, so they know what to name the project. So at this point, I would ask them if they prefer Illustrator files or PDFs. I always send a PDF because I feel like they can't mess with my artwork if it's a PDF. I mean, I guess they can, but I feel like PDFs email better. So this is how I would send my proof off to the factory. I just do a save as and choose PDF, and that's it. Okay, now if you want to see a really complicated one, here is a claw machine pin I did, and this pin had 3 molds, 1, 2, 3. And when you put it together, the claw slides and the wheel spins in the back, and then different prizes show up through the door here. I'm showing them which way the wheel, that the wheel moves here and that the claw slides here. These are the sizes for each component. This actually ended up being 1.75 inches. It had to become a little bigger because it was so detailed. And this had to become soft enamel because of the detail. But yeah, I'm showing them here that this color I wanted to glow in the dark. This pin had everything. Yeah, so just these pancakes glow. This X is showing where the cutout went and the track, and then the center of the wheel. If you want to see the finished product, go to hearmeow.bigcartel.com, and there's a neon version of this that is still in stock, although I say that now, but you might watch this later. So yeah, this was the most complicated pin, I think, that I've done so far, but my factory knew everything Like he knew exactly what I wanted, and English is his second language from my file. So don't be afraid to type notes in your file. So let me switch back to my face. I don't know how to do that. Um, I am just gonna say stop at this point, and I hope that you learned some stuff. What?